Cedar Fair is about to announce some of the greatest new additions to their parks for 2023. They've only opened one new coaster since 2020, but this year is on track to be one of the biggest years in theme park history. Cedar Fair is getting ready to open some amazing coasters for 2023, and I think we could possibly even see major record breakers. Not only that, but one park may be about to get the largest coaster investment they've gotten in the last 20 years. Get ready because Cedar Fair is coming back with a vengeance. Cedar Fair has 11 parks, and for 2023 I predict they'll open 3 or 4 new coasters, but I think the parks they go to will be a massive surprise, and I think they may even open one of the most expensive coasters we've ever seen. I'll start with Cedar Point, where I predict they will open a partially redone area where Wicked Twister used to be. I think the park will do a 2-year expansion to this area of the park, with 2023 being basic small improvements and maybe a new restaurant or flat ride. Then I think 2024 will be the second part of the revamp to this section of the park with a brand new coaster. I'm thinking they could get a massive Gristlar coaster or maybe something major from Mack Rides, but I'm wondering if they decide to get a family launch coaster from Mack, kind of like Mack's take on Cheetah's Hunt at Busch Gardens. That, in my opinion, will be a great fit for the park, and it would be a good replacement to the Wicked Twister, which was a launch coaster, while offering something families and thrill seekers alike can enjoy. It is very possible that Cedar Point gets their new coaster this year instead of next year, and I think that all depends on 2 other parks. Knott's Berry Farm has been rumored to get a Giga coaster, and I'm pretty confident Cedar Fair will manage to make it happen. Though the Giga has been in the planning stages for a while, I'm not so sure it could open in 2023. If it doesn't open in 2023 and gets pushed back to 2024, it's possible Cedar Point may want to open a coaster this year, but it's very likely both these parks get their next coaster in 2024. Knott's Giga coaster is a massive investment, and whenever it opens, I think the other coasters Cedar Fair opens that year will be on the cheaper side. That is also why I think we will see some shocking new coasters at some of these smaller parks in the chain, as well as mini coasters from RMC. That leads me to Dorney Park. Cedar Fair needs to give this park a new coaster, and they know it. In 2020, there were rumors circulating that Dorney Park was getting a Gravity Group shuttle coaster for the 2021 season, and at the time I think that made a lot of sense. However, things have changed a lot in the past few years, including the price for wood going up substantially, as well as the fact that RMC unveiled their new family coaster. I think Cedar Fair should take a really good look at putting an RMC at Dorney Park for 2023 instead of the Gravity Group shuttle coaster. Whether it's a Raptor clone or a ground-up 100-foot thrill machine, I think it's a great fit for this park. If they do go the hybrid route and get a ground-up, it would be the first RMC of its kind in that entire region of the country. Both Six Flags Great Adventure and Hershey Park don't have RMC hybrids, so for Dorney to get one first would be a great option. I wouldn't expect something too massive, but if Fun Spots could afford Air Force One, I'm sure Cedar Fair can find $8 to $10 million to give Dorney Park a nice RMC. If they don't go the RMC route, I'm sure the Gravity Group shuttle coaster will be a great investment for the park, and I think it won't be the last coaster the park gets this decade. Kings Island is a park I think won't be getting a new coaster for some time. Cedar Fair loves this park almost as much as Cedar Point, but with their last coaster being the 2020 B&M Giga, I don't think the chain is in any rush to open a massive thrill machine here. I think 2024 or 2025 is more likely timeable, and I think the coaster they get then will be well worth the wait. Maybe another B&M like the B&M Surf Coaster, otherwise I'd bet on a Mack or a Gristlar. If Cedar Point gets a Mack, maybe Kings Island gets a Gristlar, but if the Point gets a Gristlar, I think Kings Island will get a Mack, maybe an Extreme Spinner. VALLEYFAIR is a park I think will be seeing a new coaster really soon. In fact, I think all the bottom tier Cedar Fair parks will see a new coaster soon. However, many of the parks in the chain are long overdue for a coaster since the chain only opened one new coaster the past 2 years. Dorney Park is also getting a new coaster for 2023 in my opinion, which is why I think none of the other smaller parks will get a major coaster this year. VALLEYFAIR is the perfect candidate for an RMC Raptor clone when they do get a coaster, and though everyone has been talking about a B&M invert for this park, maybe RMC can offer an invert option on the Raptor model. Kings Dominion is a park that's definitely gonna get a major new coaster soon. Volcano needs a replacement, and Tombalai was a filler coaster. That being said, I can't see this park getting a coaster back-to-back years because Tombalai was still a coaster. That's why I think this park will open something major in 2024 or 2025. Maybe they can get something from B&M, otherwise I think a launch access coaster will be a perfect fit here. They are already working with S&S, so another S&S definitely makes a lot of sense, assuming Tombalai runs as it's supposed to. Worlds of Fun needs a new coaster, with their last being Prowler in 2009. With the growing population in Missouri, I think it's just a matter of time before this park gets a new coaster. An RMC Raptor might work here, but maybe they can RMC Timberwolf. Giving this park an inexpensive roller coaster that draws in crowds is exactly what they need, and I think the next decade will look a little better for the park than the last. California's Great America is due for a coaster, and they might get one for 2023. Their last coaster was Railblazer, an RMC Raptor they got for 2018, and they really could use a B&M. Normally I'd say this park would get a new coaster this year after having a 5-year gap, but there's another major park I think will get a coaster first, but I'll get to that soon. Michigan's Adventure desperately needs a new coaster, with the last major new coaster being Shivering Timbers in 1998. However, I doubt a major new coaster will come here anytime soon, but as Theme Park Prediction says, maybe they'll get a new garbage can. Canada's Wonderland is another park in need of a new coaster, and they might even get one. Their last coaster was in 2019, so they aren't overdue, and they were closed in 2020 a lot more than most of other parks in the chain. There's two ways I think this could go. Either they go with a major new coaster, in which case I think they'll have to wait a bit longer, or they can go the family coaster route, in which case it's possible they get their new coaster for 2023. And then there's CAROWINDS. CAROWINDS' next coaster is arguably the largest new coaster in the entire chain. Cedar loves CAROWINDS, and they give them major coasters costing an average of $25 million every 4 to 5 years. 2023 is 4 years since Copperhead strike, but it's possible they will wait a little longer. Kings Island likes to copy CAROWINDS with new coasters, which is why I said Kings Island might get a coaster from Mack next. I think CAROWINDS is about to open something major, something that will destroy Ferry 325 and possibly become the best coaster in the world. A coaster that Kings Island will copy later, but a coaster that will once again change CAROWINDS forever. And though they could decide to go for a B&M dive, the coaster I'm thinking about would blow your mind. It would truly change the theme park industry, which is exactly why I made an entire video on it right here you can't miss. CAROWINDS is about to shock us all, and it's gonna be awesome.